on a forklift?
Yeah, yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a
Hey.
tutti.
All right, welcome back to the AJC, everybody. It's game day. That's right, second leg, Coppa Italia, Juventus and Inter. This is it. This is the moment. This is the day we find out if we can make the finals of the Coppa Italia. And obviously, things going on in the background continue to pick up and just get more and more steam. We're going to talk about that, some of the news headlines. We might start off with some of the things in the news. We kind of like to mix that up. Sometimes we'll tackle it on the end. Sometimes we'll do it at the start. We might do it at the start today. But I got Anth with me today. How you feeling, man?
Sun is shining, pool is open, beer is looking good. Stuff is steaming like a Turkish bath out there. Now, let's we're gonna call a spade a spade. There's not a lot in the news, which always means this show is gonna be a beauty.
Oh,
And we're
yeah.
looking at the people in the army. Let's go. What do you guys want to talk about? We got the game, but there's anything else you guys want to cover? You just fire it out, and we'll do what we can.
Bikramjeet says tonight it's all on Allegri's tactics and game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Player to player, we are weaker than Inter. I hope we just nick it. But Inter are favorites. Well, I'm sure Ant's going to bring up the odds and everything like that.
They are.
But I don't know if it's all on his tactics, but his starting lineup, projected lineup, is very, very interesting. Forza, yes. Joseph Randazzo, ciao. Chiesa will score today. Hey, I hope so. Got to get this guy going. Got to get all our guys firing. But yeah, I hinted at that lineup and what we could see with obviously going without a striker. Going without a striker. So we'll see how we all feel about that. What we think that's going to set us up for me, see a commitment to try and hit a team on a counter and sit back there. But we will see. We will see. First, we want to tackle some of the news that's out there and whatnot. Obviously, UEFA was the big one yesterday, looking for an exclusion for Juventus next season. We knew that was going to come, that UEFA's looking at that, whatnot. What I found the most interesting is we also know that the reality is they're not going to get this result that they wanted out of a salary case before they can hand down punishment. But UEFA has their own personal investigation going on, and they have to finalize teams for next year's competitions at the end of June. Obviously, our salary case won't actually be finalized by then, and that was always their thing. We're going to wait to see what comes of this, to see how European registration was affected, and then hand down punishments. Now, yesterday, what we get is that they are looking to hand down the punishment regardless. Because it's not going to come then, and they are going to try to get us into a plea deal. No plea deal from you. No chance, whatever. I don't think they should do that whatsoever. But
let's look at the timeline.
Let's get your reactions here.
Yeah. So the capital gains case is going to be re-adjudicated to see if there's -9, minus whatever points, or just a fine. That's good, and then Juventus can appeal that. So that's going to be 30 days from there. So all the dates for that one it has to be wrapped up by the end of June. You're 100% correct in saying everything for UEFA has to be tied up, buttoned up by August, and then you have this Plus Venza case, which could carry on for God knows how long. UEFA lost the last one with the Man City case, right, in terms of financial fair play. So for them to put down a ruling on Juventus, exclude them from Europe, and then Juventus would appeal to the European body for appeals. I can't remember their name right now. If UEFA lose that, the money owed to Juventus for missing out on Champions League, I don't think they would risk that. I think there's too great of a risk for them to hand down a punishment for the 2023-2024 season. What I did read somewhere was if anything were to come down for UEFA for banishing Juventus for a season from Europe, it'd be for the 24-25 season. So I'm not really concerned that anything's going to happen for next season. We still got a whole shitstorm to get through. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't see anything. I don't think the risk is too great for UEFA to do that, considering that they've already lost a case to a major
Yeah.
club in Europe.
And what does UEFA benefit? This is, make
They
no
don't
doubt
care.
about it, this is a pissing match over Super League and whatnot.
100%.
And if one of those big teams that has all this money that's a draw for Champions League and whatnot gets into something like this, it goes down completely differently. If it's one of those teams that backed out of the Super League and got into their pockets again, make no mistake, it doesn't hit this. But again, I'm going to have eyes on Barca and Man City right now and what happens with them, especially Man City, after an 8-year investigation that has been relatively quiet for the last
Crickets.
month and a half. Hey, I want to see what comes down from that before we get too crazy on Juve and whatnot. But there's so much going on, and even Gravina, head of the FIGC, getting involved with Sefrin, and Romeo told me that they have been close for a very, very long time. There's always this variable of what ifs, and you just never know what's going to happen. But right now, I would just remain calm, everybody, because like I said, this UEFA and all this and whatnot, it'd be very strange for them to come down without an actual ruling in the first one happening. Okay,
Yeah.
so we gotta wait. We gotta wait here. Landucci faces a one-match ban. Okay, so obviously things got heated at the end of the Napoli game, and they got obviously a fine. Juventus faces a fine for the fans, insulting referee, insulting Napoli fans, all this. Again, crickets on Quadrado facing insults and everything, and actually having lighters thrown at him and onto the pitch. But again, crickets. I'll leave that alone. Landucci calls him a bald piece of shit and says he's going to eat his heart out. And he gets a one-match ban. And for me, grow up.
What are we talking about?
Do you know how much stuff is said on the pitch? Are we going to pick out every single piece here? That for me, this is nothing. This is nothing, and if anything, adds to the heat and the drama of Serie A and whatnot. But who cares? And
Yeah.
just to say, he's not lying anyways.
Okay. Like, did he leave his technical area and go into the other technical area? Okay, maybe. Then you sort of have a case to say, okay, what, you can't be leaving your technical area. There's fines for that. But if he's just spouting one thing from one bench to the other bench, like, I don't know, is that like eating your heart out? Isn't that a song from the 80s? But like, is that like a bad term in Juventus? Like, because when you translate stuff from Italian to English, some of it is just, it makes no sense. Could this just be one of those ones where it's like in Italian, it means something a lot worse than when you translate it to English? But even then, it's like, what are we even talking about here?
Who cares?
Like hockey. You've seen two hockey benches go at it. Those coaches, they talk about each other's mothers across the bench.
I've
What are we
heard
even?
so much in sports, okay?
It's wild.
On the field, everything. Like,
Yep.
I've heard so much that this is like, for me, it's so nothing. Like, it's nothing. It's literally nothing. It's just like a heat of the moment thing. To even get a one-match ban for me is hilarious because, again, I always go back to precedent. And it's like, what precedent are you going to set with this? How on earth do you know what is said, what happens on the pitch? There's no way. Even remember when Buffon, for saying swear words and whatnot, he got fined and all this. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like,
And that's the one I'm getting to. That's the point I'm trying to make is he said a phrase that in Italian you're not really supposed to say, but everyone says it. Kids learn it when they're like 4
yeah.
to say it. Okay. But you get fined for that? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to get at. I think maybe he said a phrase in Italian that you're not supposed to say. And the fact that he yelled it across the bench, maybe because there's kids, you don't want to get that sort of thing in kids, but they all know it anyways. Like people are
Anyways,
throwing lighters. People are
good
throwing
on
lighters.
Landucci. Good on Landucci. And you
I
know
don't have a
what?
problem.
To Napoli.
We'll,
Right here,
we'll start a
by the
GoFundMe.
way, it's a good thing that your profile picture is a calculator, because I could tell you to get the fuck out in a million different ways if you like, and you could calculate every single one of them. Get the fuck out. All right? There you go. Now,
But thanks
let's
for your
keep...
support. Like the channel while you're here.
Yeah, no, don't need that. Are we ready? It's not just a game against everyone and everything. Amici di Nessuno, absolutely coming in from Matteo Rubinati, head of Juventus official fan club Hollywood. And he's absolutely right. It is us against the world, Amici di Nessuno. We've known that. This is why the title of our last show, and we got a lot of feedback on our last show, and many appreciated the fact that it is, us highlighting that we can't turn into what we've ridiculed for all those years of us dominating.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's going on, and that there can be, this battle against all these other ones kind of leading into this and this season. We've all felt it. We can see the examples one after another. However, what it comes down to is Juventus taking care of business. Ultimately, we have to do that. We can't leave things in the hands of the referees, the officials. We have to take care of business.
Luca.
Today with Inter, it's no different. We've got to get after this one. It's going to be a difficult match. We would have liked to have a stronger advantage there, and keeping it in with the heat and the intensity of this game. With everything going on that happened in that first one, this is going to be a highly, highly contested matchup, and I expect it to be a dogfight out there. Lukaku will be in the lineup. That had its own set of controversy. Juventus fans with the racist chants and whatnot. Again, I don't hear enough praise around the world from the Chihuahuas that wanted to jump on Juventus. However, here we are with 171 people being punished with the authorities that Juventus assisted and helped. That is by far the most out there, and I can't stress that enough, because while people were so quick to jump on us, and then we had a racist incident with Lazio literally 4 days later, crickets. Where is everybody to praise and shine light on Juventus for what they've done right now? So this just shows that it is trendy. It is cool to hate on Juventus. You know what? It's nothing new. Del Piero said it on live television in Italy. If it's not for the fans of Juventus, there is no in-between. You hate Juventus unless you are one of the tifosi and a fan. It is what it is.
Yeah, when you got the largest, let's just again call a spade a spade. Juventus has the largest following in Italy. It is what it is, right? Now I'm happy to see Lukaku there. I didn't want any excuses. Let's see how he plays, against Juventus. I'm glad that he's in the lineup. We both agree on that. You've already covered that enough. I did happen to catch Bepe's news update, and he brought up an interesting point, and I want to get your thoughts on this, because I don't know how I know how I feel about it. I'd like to get your thoughts on it. The newspapers in Italy, we know the newspapers. Like he covers the headlines and how they sort of manipulate the news, and that's just what news do these days. How much weight do you carry, like, on a day-to-day basis of what they're putting out in the news in Italy? Do you just say, well, it's the Gazzetta, or do you say, like, listen, we really have to pay attention to this and try and push back? Or you just say, the news is the news over there. It is what it is. Just read it and move on.
You can't change it. There's affiliations based on certain outlets that there's nothing you can do. Us pissing around about it on social media or on our channels isn't going to change that. Like, it just isn't. It's always been like that, always has. There are outlets that have their connections and their ties. And if you think that they're not trying to push certain narratives, then you're wrong. So people putting it out there and whatnot, like it's going to stop it or anything, or we shouldn't put that out. No, I always feel a certain way. We need to push it out because that narrative needs to help. It needs to help. Remember when this case was going down and then all of a sudden Chine's professed hate for Juventus came out? I'm like, that is great for Juventus. Put that out as much as you can. Anywhere you can find scenarios about the narrative of highlighting and shining a light on Juventus and how it is totally they're not treated the same as other clubs and other scenarios. We need to put that out. We need to put that out for everyone to see and continue shining a light and make the FIGC look like clowns at every turn, which is clowns. What they do to themselves. Yeah. For me, you're not going to change that because of the affiliations that went down. Look back in 2006 when it all went down. It's the biggest conflict of interest you could ever see. It's huge. It's massive. Anywhere else but Italy, that thing's laughed at and thrown out. Dismissed immediately. Right?
Yeah, I just tell people, like, take it with a grain of salt. Again, Juventus has the largest following. They're gonna put Juventus in like big bold letters for clickbait, right? They want the eyeballs on it. So, it was an interesting topic that he brought up, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Well, how do you feel about it?
I don't really care, right? It's just news. Like we lived in North America through the Trump era, which was amazing for news, right? Like you just saw like both sides going at it. It still kind of has that feel, and it's starting to die away a little bit. But you have to take everything with a grain of salt. Certain news outlets are going to report certain things. I just say don't let it ruin your day. Take in as much as you can, like you said. Take in as much as you can from both sides, from everywhere, because online now you're going to get a lot more news. Some not real, some real. So, but take it all with a grain of salt, like you said. Some of these are affiliated directly with clubs. They have strong ties. We'll say strong ties with specific clubs. So
strong ties. And again, if we're talking about Juve in general and the feelings out there is no in between. It is not like other sports franchise. Like I said, you can not be a fan of Torino, but you definitely don't hate them. You're not a fan of Juve, you hate them. Why? Because we win. Because we have always won. Because, like Christian Vieri brings up, this could arguably be one of the worst Juve sides in 50 years, yet here we are in the semifinal of a Coppa Italia and a semifinal of Europa League. Is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the worst. Okay, again, you and I talked about this earlier. He wasn't taking a shot at Juventus there.
No, he's not taking a shot at us. I think he's highlighting that point that while other teams go completely irrelevant when they're having bad seasons or whatever, here we are bitching and complaining and not happy and wanting more, rightfully so, yet we're still in semifinals domestically and semifinals in the Europa League competition where other teams fell completely off the radar.
I don't agree that this is
for decades.
This isn't the worst team in 50 years. He was trying to make a point, but let's get serious. This is not the worst team in 50 years.
Well, no, because of the banter era. The banter era easily had the worst teams, but still goes to show. And the funny thing is, towards 3 years after the banter era, whatnot, like we still pulled some big games out of European play with some teams that are shocking. Mm-hmm. It's Juve's DNA, man, and honestly, I'm telling you, it's just cool and trendy to hate, and everybody jumps on it. For me, the FIGC are the biggest culprits, not the media, not the news outlets and whatnot. For me, the FIGC fuels all of this, and they fuel it the most, especially with Mickey Mouse decisions immediately, all this, and then unable to make decisions without public outcry and playing into the public outcry. So that cool to hate Juventus, whatnot, the FIGC is moving in on this, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They need to shut that down. They need to stand behind their big teams, not fuel the fire.
Yeah, clown
That's
show.
just me.
We've covered that. Now, can I just give you some numbers before we switch topics on how much the FIGC? It's more of Serie A, but they're all sort of connected. I'll give you some numbers of how much of
Yeah.
a clown show they are. I would love to give credit on who put this out on Twitter, and if I find it, I promise I will. But these are television money deals. Now, the Serie A one's from 2021 to 2024, and the Premiership is a different time frame, 22 to 26, and La Liga's somewhere around there as well. But the TV rights deals for Serie A, $658 million. Not bad. Premiership, 6.5 billion,
Yeah.
10 times the number. And then La Liga, this one was in euros, but it's basically the same as US dollars, almost 4.5 billion. A factor of 10 below.
Yeah.
Like, we got, like, the FIGC and Serie A have enough problems than to worry about all this fictional capital gains nonsense.
Did you read that article?
Probably.
It's a long one on The Guardian yesterday about Juventus.
I think I skimmed it. What was it about again?
It's a big article about Agnelli and everything that's going on right now with Juventus. It's kind of a timeline on everything that went down. How honestly, people were making a big deal about this article. It's essentially a recap of everything we already know and have known and where we find ourselves. But again, they file it to Agnelli and all this and whatnot, but they don't really capture a lot of the background stuff that's going on, and why I think Agnelli and what he was pushing for is exactly what needs to happen, because ultimately he's pushing for change. He's pushing for change, and they absolutely have to. Something has to change. We can't continue the way we are. The unfortunate fact of the matter is that Agnelli, for me, just lost sight. He lost sight of the focus of where it was supposed to be, where I went in great depth of the stretches financially in that podcast we did with Justin from Bianconeri Zone, and I kind of highlighted key moments, but we made a big shift, doubling, sometimes even more than that on certain moves, and we just didn't have the luxury to do that, and we started chasing. We got rid of Beppe Marotta and went for Paratici, and in that move itself, we might have failed drastically, and it was all about flash. We started to lose focus. What were we trying to do? Were we trying to chase Champions League for sure, or were we turning into like branding, marketing, financial? It's a combination of the two. He thought Ronaldo was going to do it, was going to be the one. It didn't work out, and then COVID hit. We got screwed. Okay, we got screwed financially. We stretched ourselves out beyond our means. We got into big trouble financially. But a lot of what Agnelli was looking for outside of the picture was actually correct. But nonetheless, you have a lot of Juve fans that don't want Agnelli anywhere near the club. Anything like, for me, I'm fine with him behind the scenes, like I said, but we need fresh minds and whatever taking care and taking control of the day-to-day. For me, I keep it the same. But this article, for all the hype it got and all this bill, it's a lot of what we already knew. And some of the things I question in there. I questioned some of the things in there because he said Marotta was like losing his mind over this Ronaldo thing. I don't think it was like that, because Marotta stayed for a little bit after in order to move on and then get out of there, to be honest. So I don't think it was that intense. However, I think we made a mistake by Paratici undermining his mentor, Marotta, and then us going that route. It kind of set the tone for what was to come for me.
It's kind of funny because the battle between the Super League teams and UEFA happened on the golf tour. Now, I know we're not a golf channel, but when that golf tour, that Live Golf Tour, the Saudi Arabian tour came out, and it was attracting all the top golfers with big paydays, the PGA Tour, UEFA, then changed their payment structure, and the same thing happened with UEFA. So sometimes, because UEFA, I think they changed the way the pot's split now for the upcoming Champions League seasons for payouts. Like, the teams are gonna get more money now. So that shows that, Agnelli, is he 100% correct? No, the way he went about things, but you keep hammering away, you're going to cause cracks. And they cracked the system, and UEFA had to change, PGA Tour had to change these systems that they just get so big and they get so cumbersome and caught up in themselves. Sometimes you need a bit of change. Now, for me, the Super League is coming. Everybody better buckle up. It's coming. It's not going to come this year, maybe not next year, but it's inevitable.
I'm ready. Now,
it's going to be awesome.
Now, again, we're going to wrap things up here, but with the FIGC and whatnot, there is light rumors about a formal truce because Juventus has the ability, and I've been saying it for a while, based on what we're having thrown at us, there's going to be a lot of guilty parties out there for other clubs and everything. And I said, blow this damn thing up. Blow it all up to hell. Well, for the first time, even though I've been saying this for months, the first time we have loose, light rumors that there could be the potential for a formal truce between the FIGC and Juventus because of the FIGC not wanting things to explode and to go far beyond where it has already and whatnot. So I hope there's more to that. I hope there's more smoke there that comes out over the next little bit. Again, let's wait and see. But I've been wanting Juve to push much harder and fight much harder the rest of the way. And I think at the beginning, they took things a little bit too easy on the FIGC and everything. And I wanted more pushback, but maybe they've been playing everything out properly if we start thinking about timelines and where we're going right now and dragging this thing out and making I think the FIGC is going to be the one feeling more pressure the longer it goes on than Juventus. Would you agree with that, Ant?
Well, that ruling, potentially, the Italian FA and the FIGC, the ruling in January, they essentially said, oh, there we go, minus 15 points, on we move. I don't think they really understood how bad their case was. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Juventus didn't have any shenanigans going on. You can't, because maybe they were inflating prices. But the fact remains that there is no damn rule about it, against it. I can buy something and sell it for triple whenever I want.
Even to say inflating price, it's laughable. I mean,
there's no
if somebody else is willing to do it, then the price is valid.
Right.
It's not inflated. It is what it is.
So I don't think
the
they
examples
really
that they pull up are hilarious. And at the end of the day, when you look at the finances, we're talking about 6%. 6% of a total number out of everything generated from Juventus. The whole thing's
6%?
a joke. It's a joke. Make no mistake about it. FIGC, UEFA, day. Now, today.
Just to help out the chats there, yeah, the winner of Serie A gets somewhere around 24 million euros. What a joke.
Now,
you can start a GoFundMe and raise more money than that. Okay.
Inter, Juve, today. All right. Animesh going with the te salute. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Inter, Juve. It's going to be a big one today. I've seen the discussions in the chat there about Chiesa there. We're going to talk about this lineup coming into it from Max. We're going to talk a little bit about the Snakes there. Essentially for them, they will be... they'll feel a bit of a boost there, I think, from the return of Lukaku there to form, who scored on the weekend as well against Empoli. And obviously, we know the suspension revoked. And it is what it is. There's going to be a lot of heat and tension there carried on from that first game for us. We do have Bremer listed as being back in. I see the questions in the live chat there. Yes, Bremer is back. All right. So as I said in the daily update video yesterday, what do you want Max to do? Max is going to keep his hand close to his chest, and that's what he did. And I called it. I said he's not going to let anything out. So he said, "Oh, I have no idea about Bremer. I don't know yet. Whatnot." He knew damn well. And as far as what we're going to see up top, again, keeping everybody guessing. And I wouldn't be surprised if come game time, you see a different change as well from what's being projected here, even though it is Romeo Agresti and whatnot, all due respect and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a change from this projection.
If someone picks up a knock in the warm-up.
Yeah. So as far as Inter goes, for them, Skriniar, De Vries apparently are set to miss out. And Mkhitaryan is a doubt to play from the start. Handanovic won't be in there, but that actually helps them. I would like him to be in there. Their lineup, most likely Onana, Darmian, Acerbi, Bastoni. Man, Darmian and Acerbi make up 2/3 of that back line. Please punish them. Please punish them, Juventus, okay? Dumfries, Barella, Brozovic, Çalhanoğlu, Di Marco, exactly as expected through the middle with Pineapple Head and Lukaku up top. So that's what you're going to get. Lautaro,
Pineapple
man.
Head.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on. Now, Juve. Man, that Napoli loss, the way it went down and everything, I've been saying, and I'm going to keep this the same for me. I know that it's 3 straight defeats in the league for Juventus, the first time since 2011 or whatnot. But I'm telling you, they have to take that game, and people might be like, Berto, what are you smoking? Like, what are you talking about a positive from that game? We went toe-to-toe with them. We didn't carry enough balance of play with them, but I think the fact if we were going to go down the way it went down was still kind of in our hands because that goal was our blunder. They didn't punish us the way they did the first time when it was a completely different game. And while I, like many Juventini out there, would have liked more balance in play, we still looked like we could hurt them. We had a goal disallowed. We had a second goal disallowed. I'm not quite sure why we didn't even get a look at that one because the angle I was looking at was very close, but let's just say it was out of bounds anyways, but we could have struck. We could have struck at them. We fared much, much better. The fact that we were hard done by on that call and we could feel that way should be a boost and a lift to go that extra mile tonight against Inter and leave it out of their hands. Do you agree with me there, Ann? In using it as a positive?
I really don't think they need the Napoli game to be a boost. This is a derby. I think the past 2 matchups we had with this team are going to be enough to get the boys ready to go. I don't know if we're going to get into the lineup yet, but no. I think this team, everything that's happened in the last game, the past 2 games, I think Max is going to have them ready to go. Now, hopefully Landucci isn't too much of a cheerleader in the change room because he's not going to. Oh, he will be there for this one. Did he get a suspension or just a fine?
A 1-match ban, but I think it's for Serie A and not Coppa
so
Italia. Now, Dell's saying we played better, but we were clearly inferior. Only for about 25 minutes in the second half would I say we were clearly inferior, but that was, again, balance of play. When it came down to it, we had moments. We didn't commit enough, if you ask me, and we'll talk about commitment to this game with the lineup and everything. Quadrado suspended. So you're going to see the return of Lord DeCilio. DeCilio will be out there. Keane is still injured. Otherwise, we have a pretty much fully available roster to Max Allegri. The projected lineup, the last updated projected lineup from Romeo Agresti is Perin in goal, Bremer, Bonucci, Sandro. Let's just stop it right there for a second. How do you feel about that one? And Bonucci
I'd be
being
more
in
comfortable. I'd be more comfortable having Gatti and Rugani starting than Sandro and Bonucci.
I would have to agree with you that I am very, very much concerned with Bonucci. I am very, very concerned, everybody. When is the last time he was actually in? And now we're going into a second leg semifinal against Inter. But
away.
I will say this: Inter doesn't scare me that much. Like they don't scare me as much as like Napoli puts a little bit of fear out there in attack and what they can do and whatnot, but I think we'll be okay. But Leo concerns me, everybody, if I'm being honest.
I think if Dzeko was projected to start, hang on, let me put this another way. If it was any other striker in the league other than Lukaku, Bonucci doesn't start. That's how I look at it. I think Max believes Bonucci lines up well with Lukaku and he can handle him. He's played him enough. That is the only thing I can figure out why he'd start Bonucci.
I don't know. See,
hostile atmosphere. I don't.
Well,
I
the
really
other
don't know.
thing is that when you're playing with the wingbacks like that, and this is why I don't think it's going to play out prototypically, because I don't think you're going to put Bonucci anywhere near Lukaku. You're going to put Bremer on him. But the problem with Bremer, if Bonucci's in there, Bonucci can't play on one of those side roles in a third center back. Not now, nowhere near it. So the problem is that Bremer might find himself being drawn out sometimes, out to those flanks and whatnot. Then you're going to have that matchup, and I do not want Bonucci anywhere near Lukaku because he's going to get manhandled. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. So if Bremer's in there today, he has to be in the heart of that defense for me. And I would probably ultimately go with, I think I'd even go Rugani in the heart and Bremer on the right and Sandro on the left before I did this. My ultimate would probably be Bremer in the heart, Sandro on the left, Gatti on the right. If we were looking to get Sandro in and whatnot with Danilo or whatever, right? But you might see Decilio really staying back home in this one. And what's that going to do for our offense? I don't know. What happened?
That's what happened. That's okay. First thing is that there is no more away goals rule anywhere. So I saw some people talking about that. That's all. Yeah. That's gone now. It wasn't the last time we played Inter. I think it was 2 games ago where we had this same line. We had Decilio on the right and we had Kostic on the left. And Decilio essentially was, or was that against Lazio? Can't remember who it was. But Decilio was just essentially holding back. He wasn't going forward at all. And it was Kostic versus Dumfries on the left. So it's all playing out the same way. I have no idea why he started. Is Danilo hurt? No.
Yeah. So Forza, you were saying just look at last game's lineup and how wrong we were. Well, I wasn't wrong. I had no problem. Like, it made sense to me, those changes. Today, I can't say Bonucci makes sense to me, and I don't believe Bonucci's going to pocket Lukaku. I see some problems there. I'm nervous about it. He has not played in a while, but hey, maybe that ass comes up big today with some blocks. Who knows? The twerk style. We'll see. Now, the rest of the lineup. We've talked about the back line. Let's get to across the middle. We talked about Decilio wrapping things up on the right. Miretti, again, according to Romeo Gresti. Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic. Hey, I've been saying it. And then Fagioli doesn't take that position up on Quadrado that's high up there. And I know how much we all love Fagioli. I'm one of them. But he's concerning me. He is concerning me in his play, in the emotions, in all of that. And you got to start thinking about it. And I said these two have been jumping back and forth throughout the season. It started off, Miretti was above, and then Fagioli all of a sudden went on top. Now, as of late, from what I've seen, I would rather have Miretti in there. I'm fine with it.
I said in the last show, it's a good problem to have when one's down, the other one's up. Right now, at the moment, Fagioli's made mistakes in the past 2 games that cost us. Is that going to ruin his career? Are we going to bury him? No. Miretti's just playing better, so he starts.
And the thing that surprised me the most was the amount of work Miretti also put in the defensive side, because I thought we were going to suffer there, and we didn't. Miretti did a hell of a job, because I always gave Fagioli a lot of credit for how much he grew in that department. When we look at the preseason games and the start of the year and how frustrating Locatelli was getting and always yelling at him for defensive duties, Fagioli came a long way. So I had nerves about that, but Moretti did so very, very well. Moretti, Locatelli, Rabiot, I'm down with it. Kostic, I think, has to be there. If we go back to that Napoli game, anybody that was with me on the watch along, I said during that game, I said, this is going to be a very tough one for Max to run his changes, because I know many had frustrations with Kostic's play and whatnot, but they were all doing so much in at the same time shutting down Napoli. And we were having opportunities and moments to hit back. That balance faded in the 2 changes we made. It faded a lot. And then we didn't necessarily get back and push until very late in that game. Now, we wrap things up with Di Maria and Chiesa. So no striker whatsoever. We know Vlahovic is out and whatnot, but man, this is extremely interesting.
It's the classic 3-2-3-0 lineup. 3-2-3-2-0 lineup. Genius.
This is going to be very, very interesting. No striker. Di Maria, Chiesa, but Moretti being one of the attackers out of there. This is going to be very interesting to see. I'm curious. But I also believe this could be him getting speed, getting technical ability in there to just flat out commit to trying to hit on counters.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to flip back to the Fagioli thing. The best midfield we saw all season was Fagioli, Rabiot, Locatelli. Those 3 in the middle. We all agree on that. Now, I don't think we lose anything with Moretti in there, so we'll just kind of button up that conversation. No strikers on there is wild. I'm actually kind of excited to see Di Maria and Chiesa out there to see what these 2 numbnuts could do. Why not? Why not? We've had, what was the stat? It was
14 games since our last striker scored. The 3 of them?
We have 1 goal from the 3 strikers in the last 14 matchups.
And that was Moise Kean. Yeah.
Okay, now 2 of them are injured.
Yeah.
Right?
Now,
but hey, let's see it. Let's try it.
This is the thing that gets me with this. I've been saying formation, whatever setup doesn't really matter to me. It's more attitude, it's more how you want to play the game and everything. So this one to me is not going to be a 3-5-2. I don't see it being a 3-5-2. But what's key is if we surrender control of play and whatnot and try to hit back on the counters from what we've seen with our team, I'm not quite sure how we're going to do so without a target player. Because if we're asking Di Maria and we're asking Chiesa to be those guys, that's going to be a tough ask for those guys to be the ones that can give you that kind of play with back to the defense and whatnot and trying to shield. Like, that's going to be a tough ask. We'd have to play completely different than what we're used to.
That's what I'm going to say. This lineup says we're throwing the whole target striker thing out the window. I don't know if it's just going to be a lot of movement, a lot of switches, a lot of, Di Maria on the right, on the left, Chiesa flip-flopping, and just not have that one target man. That is the only way this plays out.
Yeah.
Man, this guy's unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, everybody, I'm excited for it, to be honest.
Pumped.
I'm excited for it. It's something different. It's a slight change. We got the numbers the other day. What was it in terms of how many different setups Max Allegri has
98
used?
And 98.
Yeah.
98 for 98.
So, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens today. But I am actually excited. Di Maria, Chiesa, Moretti in there going at it again. I am nervous about Bonucci there, but I hope that he calls back to the wonder years there and has a performance worthy of that. And unfortunately, Juve Boy 99, I will not be doing a watch along today. Okay, I'll be at work, but I am feeling a bit under the weather, so stay tuned. Who knows? If I end up calling it, I'll do a watch along for all you. Now, predictions. You guys know the drill around here, okay? We get final score and 2 tiebreakers. Chat, hit us with your predictions right now. And Anthony, why don't you lead us the way? Why don't you give us the betting odds and everything? Hit us with some numbers. We always like that.
You just assume that I have these numbers, and if you did assume that,
Yes.
you would be correct. All right.
Hell
So
yeah.
Juventus money line yesterday was 260. They are now money line to win is plus 290. So maybe they saw the Bonucci potential and they're like, they have no chance of winning this game. So I like the Juventus money line at 290. Now, anytime goal scorers, Chiesa is plus 320. Di Maria is plus 440. Rabiot plus 750. Now, I had Danilo at plus 2,000, but he's not starting. But he is fit, right? He could come in.
Well, who, sorry?
Danilo.
Yeah, Danilo's there. Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't put money on a player that's not starting. Anyways, I was looking over. So this is a bet I actually put down. All right, you ready? So Juve money line, obviously. But it's Juventus 2-1 scoreline. So I took Juventus 2-1. I took Chiesa to score. I took over 1.5 goals total. And I took a halftime draw.
You in the halftime draws, man.
Lucci got me onto that one. Plus 7,700 for that parlay. That's the one I'm going to go with.
All right. All right.
But some other score lines, Juventus 1-0 plus 900, 2-0 plus 1,800. 2-1 is a plus 1,200 score line. But we haven't scored. When was the last time we scored more than one goal? 9 games?
9 games ago against Freiburg.
So remember, everyone, a 1-1 draw, 2-2 draw.
Trey,
This
what?
thing's going into extra time.
Come on, Trey. Come on.
I did write down 2-1 Inter. Not that I put money on it, but a 2-1 Inter score line is plus 800.
0-0 penalties.
No, this game isn't going scoreless. At halftime,
2-1 Chiesa. We got a lot of 1-0s. Got a couple 2-1s. Got some 0-0s going into penalties. We got a 2-0 here from Anthony Ciamboli, and then te tu merda, absolutely te. 2-1. Leo and Chiesa. Forza Juve sticking in with Bonucci there. We got a lot. Oh, Juve Pulse coming in here with the 3-0. I would absolutely love every second of this. Oh, man. Hey, let's see. Sorry, Alberto, gotta be real. It's all good. Maybe it's a reverse prediction there, okay? And it'll bring us good luck. For me, 1-0 FC, baby. Where we at? 1-0 FC, baby. 1-0 Juventus. The goal scorer will be Federico Chiesa. Okay, It is going to be in open play. He is going to score from the left side, curling it to the far post. All right, 1-0, baby. 1-0. And then we can throw that to Inter. Okay, 1-0. Now, the ref, everybody wants to know about the ref. You got that, Ant?
I didn't write it down, but we all know who he is. Okay. There is a photo floating around of a guy who looks like him in the airport with an Inter bag. That's not him. It looks like him. It's not him. All right. That was from like 2 years ago or something, a year ago or 2 years ago. A guy in the airport with a mask on, traveling with an Inter bag. Everyone's like, oh, that's that referee. It's not him. Stop it.
You're telling me that not everything I see on the internet is real?
You want to know something? It's hard to believe, but sometimes the World Wide Web just jumps out and gets you. And I think it's getting a lot of people on this one.
It's unreal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's wild.
All right.
But Arbitro Nick did have concerns about this guy and the last guy.
Arbitro Nick had some... He was so adamant about Fabri not getting that game. And... for Doveri, I'm going to quickly look up to see if I could find quickly the messages about Doveri. But Nick was one of those that read that article that I was talking about earlier, and he just said, he's like, for him, he would want new ownership of Juventus. That's a whole different topic and whatnot. I'm not there yet. Now, Doveri for Inter Juve, he says... The only sensible ref appointment for Inter Juve in this game is Orsato. And he says that's the only sensible ref appointment. And he says after the game on with Inter on Higuain's goal when he should have sent off Pjanic, he can never ref another match for Inter. So they will not get him another match. But when Doveri messed up against us, crickets, everybody. Crickets. So there you go. For Nick, he says only in Italy does the best referee not get the hardest games to ref. He says only in Italy. So take that for what it is. I always love Nick's honesty and how he comes out with things and whatnot. And he's been very accurate when he calls potential struggles with referees. So there you have it.
So Doveri here, he did the 5-1 Napoli loss. So he didn't have much work to do that day. I'm talking about Juventus games here. He did the Juve 2-0 Inter win. Juventus win against Inter in November. He also did our 1-1 draw against Fiorentina and our 2-0 win against Fiorentina last year. So this will be his fourth Juve game this year. He's an experienced ref. He has over 180 Serie A games, but it's not the guy in the airport. Stop it.
Yeah. We'll
but
I don't
who
want
cares
anything...
who the ref is?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Let's take care of the business.
Put the ball
Predictions
in
are in. I've got 1-0. Ant's got 2-1. We both have Chiesa goal scorers. He's got halftime draw. I need one more tiebreaker. And I think I'm going to go with this. Okay? Somebody is getting sent off. That's all I'm going to say. We will see a sending off. That's going to be my other tiebreaker. Who it's going to be?
Just one?
Yes. One sending off. And
just one. All right.
Do we get any heat at the end of the game? Some heated moments? Another scuffle or whatnot? Potentially. We'll see. Everybody, get those likes up, okay? Let's get the likes up on this video, all right? Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, okay? There's a lot of different ways to try and support the channel. There's obviously the merch that you see linked to YouTube there. There is memberships now, okay? So you can become a member to the YouTube channel. There's 3 different levels with different types of perks, okay? And super chat if you choose to, all right? Whatever you guys decide is great. Thank you to everybody who already has. Now,
I believe the memberships, one second, I believe the memberships, you have to go through a desktop or a laptop.
Desktop to hit up the memberships, yes.
It's not on the mobile app.
Now.
Food for thought.
Now. Storm the barn. We can get some
it.
Storm the barn going.
Absolutely.
And let's first start with you, Ant. Is there any questions you have? Is there something we didn't tackle and maybe you want to talk a little bit about?
No, I had that one question mid-show there in terms of how we handle or how we personally handle seeing news headlines, take everything with a grain of salt. Listen, it's a bumpy road coming up. Everyone just needs to be patient. And as Bert always says, we got to take it one damn day at a time. One game at a time. And look, we're appointed a second. You know, we didn't think we'd be here 2 months ago. We didn't know what was going to happen with the appeal. We got it back. Who knows what's going to happen with the appeal coming up? But in terms of questions, I'm ready to go, man. My Celtics lost last night, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But today, I need a win. We cannot go to extra time. When's our next game? Saturday or Sunday? I know we shouldn't look past this one. But
Sunday. Doesn't matter. Got to get the job done. Got to beat Inter. Got to kill the Snakes.
No, I'm just saying, like, don't hold back on substitutions. No one should be held back. Everyone should be ready to go. Like, do we see Pogba in this game?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Can we take bets on how many dives Merdinez? I love that. Merdinez will make. You got to go over under on 5. So it'd have to be 5 would be the threshold.
5.5.
Yeah, and I would take that.
I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to put this out there, and I think a lot of people can agree with me. Chiesa needs to stop diving. Got to stay on your feet, kid. You got to fight through some stuff.
A little tougher. And you know what? I need Di Maria to stop fucking around for the most part. Right before he scored that goal against Napoli, I was so fucking pissed off with him. And I was calling him out because I'm like, he's been pretty flat for quite some time. And then against Napoli, he tries that chip like from almost half to catch Merritt out there. And it's like, is that honestly the best we can come up with in that moment, in that play? It's like that side was so weak for Napoli with Oliveira there. And I was like, we were doing damage. And I go, attack this guy. Attack that guy. So let's go. I want to see a lot more out of Di Maria. And Chiesa? Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's start getting in there, getting stuck in and fight for
well, I got a question for it. The only way I can see these two playing together is that they're within 10 yards of each other the whole game. Di Maria and Chiesa. Yeah. Like, they have to be, connected.
We got to start fighting for those inches, man. We got to start doing that. It's all, I feel like that Al Pacino, inches. It's about inches. Yeah, I don't know if I can't do that.
What a great movie, Any Given Sunday.
Oh, but,
yeah. They're gonna have to like you said. This is gonna be awesome to see how these two play together.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited for it. It could fall flat on its face, or it could be the best we've seen. Who knows? Yeah. Let's hope for the second there. Okay. And yeah, let's give some love out there for the league. Hell yeah. Let's see if they can get the job done there. So. Great damn impersonation. You like that? You like the Pacino? We'll see what happens.
Hey, Luca, how's that piano play coming, bud?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get the keyboards there.
Come on, Slappy.
Storm the barn. We have some rolling in here, and let's attack them. And again, keep them coming, everybody. If you got them, keep them coming. Do you think Max really believes we challenge for the Scudetto next season? And also, do you think he's been told he'll be the coach next year regardless? Honestly, there's a lot more coming out that many are starting to think that he could potentially walk away. I don't think so. But there's still some that feel that way. And I honestly, if I was leaning towards it, he's not gonna walk away from that contract. It's not happening. Why would he? Because there's not going to be, based on everything that's gone down, like there's not going to be a big team coming in. But we are hearing rumors that there is potentially a big team coming in. I don't think so. I'd expect him to be there. But as far as challenging for the Scudetto next season, I think all things considered, this season, absolutely. Like, I look at the start of this year, how piss poor it was, injuries, all this, then the points thing and whatnot, like, I think we can challenge. Like we can challenge. And again, when we start looking at like this being arguably, if you factor in some key guys not being available for a long part of this season, potentially the worst Juve in a long time, and we're still in there. And if a couple of big games went our way, it's a different story. I think next year we definitely challenge and contest for it. But that's not, for me, the jury's still out on Max. I just don't see a scenario where Juve can do it financially, and unless he's willing to work with Juve on a split, and if they want to do it. But right now, sporting director
doesn't exist.
Sporting director and a management team first, they might not want Max, and then that might change everything.
Let's put it this way. If we I play a scenario here. If we had to beat Napoli, we would have been within 6 points of them. We would have been within 6 if we beat Lazio and Sassuolo also. I know there's a lot of ifs here, but we lost to Monza, dropped points to Salernitana, dropped points to Fiorentina, right? Had minus 15 points given to us in January. Now, Napoli has been a great team this year, but let's not pull any punches. They've had no competition. Yeah. Their competition was neutered in January. So let's just...
Yeah.
We will compete next year. We have the team. We got a bad start, bad deal, raw deal done in January. Had a good run. Now we're
this is a skid mark on the titles winners list is all it's going to be, and that's what they are, and they will fade back into irrelevancy. I'm sure of it. How long? Whatever. But it's inevitability. They like to believe that they are in our heads. No, it's that you're so damn annoying and you guys can't shut up about us, but it's expected because you don't know how to win because you never do it. You want to call us fans glory hunters. Hell,
33
I
years.
could have chosen Pro Vercelli and I would have been considered a glory hunter to you guys. Let's worry about this for those Chihuahuas out there. Will you catch Torino and Pro Vercelli by 2050? If I had to bet, I would say no. So why don't you deal with them first and leave the big dogs alone? Now,
All I'm going to say is I'm pretty sure you and I are the only ones who were alive and remember the last time Napoli won a Scudetto
Matt,
in here in this group chat. Not to say, I'm just saying. I'm not going to
we've
give
won.
it.
They need to keep our names out of their filthy little mouths because we've won more on the trot than they've won total. Okay, we won more on the trot than they've won total. It's hilarious to me. It's hilarious to me.
Anyways,
They're
I'm just
clowns.
saying, back to the question. Yes, we can compete next year, and fully agree with you, Al. Without a sporting director and with that contract, like Vietti said the other day, I don't know how you get out of it. I don't know how you get out of that max contract.
I don't
He'll be here
expect
next
that,
year.
but well, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see. Now, more storm the barn. I'm still angry. We have not won the league. How do you feel? Well, yeah, of course. I want to win everything. I want to win every trophy. I'm upset about it because I think what I'm most upset about is that I never expected Max Allegri 2.0 to be like this.
Yeah, it hasn't been good.
Yeah, and the big games, I would have never, if you would have told me he would only have 6 big game wins out of the 37, 38, whatever, 41, I would have taken that bet all day, bet my house on, and said, no chance in hell that Max fails that many big games or we're not winning that many big games. But here we are. And this is why the games are played. And I always remind people, like, and Ant can attest to this, some of those great teams back in the 90s and stuff like that, they didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
They fell outside of top 5 in the league and whatnot. And you were like, how with this roster? It is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, the games have to be played. You have the flip side nowadays. You have a team like PSG that's buried like themselves financially, just money. They can't even get past a certain round in the Champions League. Like, it is what it is, right? And this is why, going back to that article about Agnelli and Juventus and whatnot, and hindsight's always 2020, but we would have probably been better off if we stayed in our working model. And I think that's what Juve's got to get back to now. And we get into a discussion about Dusan Vlahovic, and I said, I think that just kind of sums it up for Juventus, that we cannot take, if there's any kind of risk or chance involved or a player isn't a guarantee, we can't be spending more than 40 million on taking shots on players. 40 million seems to be our threshold where we could still manage to get out somewhat unscathed, and we could still work the rest of the roster accordingly. When we start getting into the 70, the 80 million players, we start doing way too much patchwork around it to try and compensate, and we're just not there. We can be there, though, in a few years if guys like Miretti, Fagioli continue to evolve, Rovella comes in there, and all of a sudden you have this young core that's come up with you, and we could continue to add youngsters in. Houston, Yildiz. Then you get into a potential where, okay, now we could take that stab because we have saved so much financially with all these guys that we've hit on. But right now, no. But being angry about not winning the league, absolutely. We should never. There's a big difference, and we talked about this on that pod too. There's a big difference about being realistic, but still holding your standards. So people often mix that up, and they say, "Oh, you'd be happy with this season if we still won a Europa League and Coppa Italia." Yeah, because I don't think you should ever take any trophy for granted. And you want to win all your trophies. And we would still see guys like Miretti, Fagioli be a part of winning trophies, even the Europa League. And then the next step is Champions League. But that's not lowering your standards. Our standard is still be the top domestically and compete in Europe. That's still the standard. But there's nothing wrong with, accepting and being happy with us not being at that level and have to fight to get back to that level. There's nothing wrong with that too. We could still be happy about other trophies. Anth?
Coppa Italia is a big trophy to the players. Don't kid yourselves. That's an important trophy to the club, to any team in Italy. So they're not half-assing it today. They want to win this trophy, especially since who's in the other semifinal. There's not to say they're gonna be easy. Fiorentina's on a bit of a streak, but they lost last week. But still,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is trophies matter to this club, no matter what they are.
Now, let's get to another. We got another couple of all the next gen players that have not made their debut yet. Who is the most interesting? Oh, Yildiz for sure. I think it's going to be interesting seeing him with the preseason and seeing him get those minutes there and whatnot. If he can make that jump and be as effective as he has with Primavera and looking as strong, even with the next gen, he looked very strong, making that slight jump. If he can do it at 17, 18 years old, he is extremely intriguing for all of us. And we beat big clubs to Kenan Yildiz. Bayern Munich being one of them. So for me, it's him, but Houston too. But
Houston, I was gonna say Houston's the one you hear the Romeos and the Mirkos, those guys talk about Houston being the next guy. Yildiz they feel he still has time needed in the Primavera before he makes the jump here. But Houston is the one that, even though he just turned 18 like 2 weeks ago, he's the one that they're expecting to. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying for the one I want to see right now, more immediate, is Houston. Because with all the hype coming from him, I want to see what he can do with the first team.
Yeah. Now, Hanin still on the Moretti loan train, so that's obviously going to be directed to me because I was calling him for a loan potentially. Potentially still, yes, but what it would matter to me is on a couple other things. What happens with Orabio and Rovella obviously coming back, and we keep hearing that he's going to be integrated into the team and whatnot. Because if Rovella comes in, I think you might see not just him being a change-up to Locatelli, but I think you might see a different setup in general with how we do things, because the two of them could operate as a pivot. So there's a lot of question marks. Right now, I'm not so sure, even with Fagioli being around and whatnot, that Moretti gets as many minutes. And for me, Moretti has everything to excel, but he needs the continuity, and he has to be in there.
And he needs to eat a couple
continuity grow. So I'm technically still leaning there for now. Ant, what do you think?
Okay, I got one for you because I was on the Moretti loan train before, but I got the kids wrong this year at the beginning of the year. They proved me wrong, and I love it. They're all playing great. This is a realistic scenario. Realistically, Rabiot will not be here next year. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about right there.
Love it. Thank you very much, Juve Pulse. Welcome to the AJC Army officially.
Let's start the wave there. Realistically, Rabiot's not here next year. There is also a chance that Di Maria is not here next year. A chance. Play the game with me. Do you think we keep both Sule and Moretti if those two guys aren't here, or do one of them still go on a loan? First of all, do you think both of them will be here next year? Rabiot's gone. But Di Maria potentially is not here next year.
I'm not so sure Rabiot's a for sure leaving anymore.
Interesting.
If I'm being honest, I'm not 100% sure he leaves. The grass might not be greener on the other side, and I truly believe.
There you go.
I truly believe what happens with Rabiot, what happens with Allegri, kind of affects Rabiot too. Yep. So, a lot of ifs, a lot of things to think about, and a lot of different variables. Di Maria, I could easily see staying, but Sule, I believe, is out for a loan.
So there you go. You kind of answered your question. If the two young players are linked to those two older players, if those two stay, most likely one of the two younger players has to go for a loan. And it would be Sule.
But even then, I'd like to see more of Sule.
So would I.
But if we stay, and here's another, again, when we talk about variables,
So
I don't think Juve's goal is to go into next season playing a 3-5-1-1 or a 3-5-2. In a 3-5-2, Sule does not have an opportunity to get the minutes he needs to get in there. If we played a 4-3-3 and use two wingers at all times, it opens up more opportunities for him. And then I would keep him around for sure. But if not, then you have to ask, is he not going to grow and do better at a loan out? They already wanted to loan him out this season because of that reason. He said no. He said he wanted to stay. He rejected any type of loan move. So it's difficult there. It's difficult there. But I think I'd like to see him stay, but he could be heading out for loan. It's going to be tough.
And a 4-3-3 next year.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Do you think Lord DeCilio would cost us problems at the right flank against DiMarco? I think DeCilio is going to play a very straightforward and safe game, and it's going to be defense first, and I think he's going to just do whatever he has to at all cost to stop DiMarco. It's going to hinder us offensively on that flank, but he is not going to take gambles. He's not going to take any chances. And I would expect him to do fairly well against DiMarco. Anthony, what do you think?
Most likely, and hopefully doesn't prove me wrong, most likely you will not find DiMarco wide open at the back post because DeCilio will be there with him.
There you go. There you go. Sule, please stay. He is a gem, just needs an attacking setup. I like what I'm seeing from him, and yeah. See what goes down. Who will stop Bastoni? Midfielder on that side will be Moretti. It will be a combination between him and the forwards to try to slow up Bastoni. We know his crossing prowess is very, very strong. There's a lot of question marks about this lineup. Who's going to be man-marking Brozovic out of the forwards? This could be another reason why Max may opt to not play a striker in this game, so that you have somebody that can also mark there, but also quickly turn the tides offensively with speed, a la Chiesa, even Di Maria and whatnot. It's going to be interesting to see. A lot to think about. I'm excited for this game. I think Juve gets through. We got our predictions in. Everybody. I see a ton more questions coming in, but we are at time now, everybody. Who is going to stop Bonucci? Hopefully nobody, okay? And I would love nothing more than for him to give me the day and have a stellar game, score a goal, okay? And I'll come back here tomorrow and I'll wear my goddamn Bonucci kit and I'll be the happiest guy to say I was completely wrong, okay? About being nervous about him being in there. Do it, Bonucci. Do it, okay? Prove me wrong. Have the game of your life. Let's go. I hope we get the job done. I hope we beat the piss out of these guys, okay? I want this trophy so bad. All trophies, okay, in this and Europa. Let's go, Juve. Okay, big one. Max making some interesting calls on the lineup. Let's see how it pans out. Everybody, you know the drill. Like the video. Drop some comments in here before you take off on the video. We will be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, covering what we hope is advancing into the Coppa Italia finals. Enjoy the game, everybody. I wish I could call it, but I'll be back on the weekend for the watch-alongs. All right, everybody, let's go. The Chihuahua Snakes, that's a new one. Chihuahua Snake, what a combination. They should make a movie about that, kind of like Cocaine Bear and Sharknado. Chihuahua Snakes. Look at that. Love it. Love it. Good talk. Thanks, guys. Everybody, thank you. Live chat, you guys are amazing. All right. And tomorrow, hey, we'll tackle the game
and see here.
What goes down. Hopefully, we don't have to talk about nonsense involving officials, involving VAR. Let's settle this on the pitch. May the best team win, and hopefully that team is the Bianconeri, all right? Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. We'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the match.
Yeah.